some embroidery, some decks of boughs. We have a holly, a wreath, a bunch of mistletoe, and a candy cane. This one is put together. You will need lemon, a 4.5-inch square of lemon, the design marked on your fabric, a 3-inch hoop. We are using 4 different colors. Well, on this one, we're only using 3 colors. We're using a light green, a dark green, and a red. Stitch out here. This one, we are using two strands of floss for everything. Of the 4 patterns we're doing, you use 2 strands of floss for all of them, except the French knots. And the French knots, we use 2 strands, and we wrap them 3 times. The first thing we do is stitch the leaves. You have 2 colors of green. These leaves are done in a first you do a back stitch, and then we're going to do a stem stitch. These are stem stitches. It's just a slightly thicker stitch than a back stitch. So what we do, it's kind of like a back stitch. There's my stitch. I'm going to go up here and go back past where my needle came out. This makes a thicker stitch than a back stitch, so you actually fill in the area faster. You can see I'm going in here, but I'm coming up where my thread has already been. This fills the stitch area faster. We're going to do 1/2 of each of the leaves in the lighter green, and once you get close to having it filled up, it's easy just to, sometimes you need to make like 2 stitches there because there's not room for you to do another round. Because I'm getting really close up here. I've probably got room here for 2 rows. Okay, once you've got all of those done, your leaves are done. This one's leaves are not done. What you need to do for your berries to make it look very neat is to do a back stitch around the berry before we do a satin stitch. And to do a back stitch, you go in ahead of your last stitch. And with this one, it's not a stem stitch. You go in where your thread came out. So it makes a solid stitch area. And it's best to make smaller stitches so your berry's round. If you make bigger stitches, it's more angular, and your berry's not going to be as neat. Okay. I'm going to finish up on this one over here. This one has the leaves and the berries. I'm gonna finish up my back stitches here. Once you have the berries back stitched, we're going to do a satin stitch for the berry. And what I found was more interesting was to do a satin stitch in different directions. So the berries kind of reflect different. This one's satin stitch is going this way, this one's this way, and this one's more of an upright angle. With the back stitch that you've already done, you can go in the middle of that thread if you want, or you can go on the outside of the thread. The back stitch helps you make a more round berry. And if one of your satin stitches is too wide, you can come back and put another stitch between those two, just so your linen doesn't show. These berries are almost all going in the same direction, but it does give them a different reflection and sheen off the floss if they're stitched in different directions. You can tell that one's too far apart. I can go back and put one between those two. Close that gap. I might actually need more than one. Put a few stitches in that one, so he'll like better. I don't like them. Okay, when you're done with all your stitching, you knot him off in the back. I'm gonna take him out of the hoop. And this is our fussy cut template. We are going to center this. And we're going to cut him out. Right, this is the size we're going to need. We have our batting and our wedge disc. We're going to do a running stitch around our design, much like a yo-yo, if you've ever made a yo-yo. It's a running stitch we're going to use to gather our fabric. Just large stitches. You don't have to be really close to the edge. If you're too close to the edge, sometimes the stitches pull out, but you can tell as long as you're smaller than this, you're going to be in the right area. I'm going to go a little bit past my knot. Okay. So you're going to put your batting over your design, and your wooden disc over that. And we're going to gather our stitches up. At this point, I want to turn it over and make sure that my design is centered. If it's not, I can wiggle it just a little bit. And I'm going to pull it really, really taut. You can see how my stitches gathered nicely. I'm going to hold it here, and I'm going to stitch it. Just gonna run some connecting threads from one side to the other side. This is gonna help it stay where I want it to be. How nice and smooth it is around the outside. Okay, I'm gonna do one here. And over to here. And then stitch it down. And go through here. Going through my loop to make a knot. And then I'm going to trim him off. Okay, so he's stitched down really nicely. The next thing we're going to do is put him on our North Felt disc. Just right here. We're going to glue him on here with our Elmer's glue. You can just center him with your eye. We're just going to put glue on the back of him. We're going to put him down. And it's helpful if you can actually weight something on him so he's a little bit flatter. Then after that glue dries, we're going to make sure he's centered. Yeah. And with this one, you can put the berries anywhere you want. Because wherever you put the bell in the center is going to be the bottom. And you're going to tie your ribbon at the top. You're going to also be gluing this down, and I would not use a lot of glue. It's best that you wait till after this glue dries that puts the design on the wool before you put your baker's twine on. That way your twine doesn't get tangled underneath and glued down accidentally under your design while you've got a weight on it. Because if it's pushed down and dried, the baker's twine can't get under it. And that's your ornament. I hope you enjoyed the class.